What's up, everybody? My name is Kier, and you are watching The Important Things That Really Matter. Today, we're going to go into part 2 of Watch Out, STDs are on the rise. Watch out, STDs are on the rise. And one of the things that you need to take in consideration tremendously is that these transmitted diseases are on the rise all over the United States. Not just in Atlanta, not just in Houston. Houston right now has a outbreak of the transmitted disease called syphilis. If you go to the Atlanta area, there is a huge outbreak of HIV. The HIV rate in Atlanta is as high as some third world countries, which is that you need to take in consideration also too. But it's not just in these two particular areas. These transmitted diseases all over the United States have went up 100%, 200%, 300%. This is something that you need to be aware of, because this should hopefully slow you down so that you're now out here just screwing around with anybody because you don't know who got what. Matter of fact, I personally know a person right now, and I know she don't know that I know. There's a woman that I know right now is walking around with HIV right now. She's a professional. Did you hear what I said? I know a professional woman right now who is walking around with HIV. And now they have medicines. They have medicines right now which will prolong your life. So you don't have to die right away from HIV. They have medicines that will keep you alive. And if this woman has not died as of yet, which I'm not sure if she's died or not, because you know HIV does turn into AIDS. If she hasn't died, it's because of the medicines that she's been taking. Now, this same woman that I'm talking about right now, she did not have to get HIV because she was married to a good man up and coming, had a really good career going for her. But she didn't want that. She wanted to be out in the street. She wanted to have fun. She wanted to be in the street. Even though she got married to a guy that I know who was very, very successful at the time. Well, it was, instead of her staying at home and taking care of her husband and cooking for her husband, taking care of the house, them working together as a team to build something for their family together, which is going to help build up the community. Instead of her doing those things, she decided she wanted to run out in the street and be out in the street. Well, the result of running in the street and being out in the street is her catching HIV and other people catching AIDS. So if your mother doesn't tell you this, or if your father doesn't tell you this, you better listen to stuff now. Men, just because you have a rubber on does not mean that you will not get HIV or AIDS from somebody. Men, just because you have a rubber on, a condom on, does not mean that you will not get a transmitted disease. Even with a condom on, you can still get blue waffles, which is a serious infection around your private parts, which to my understanding is no cure. You can get herpes with a condom on. You can even get HIV or possibility of getting AIDS with a condom on if the condom slips off, number one, or if the condom breaks. If the condom breaks, if the condom slips off of you, and you're not gonna know until after the fact. You're gonna pull out and you're gonna be like, damn, the condom's gone. Well, that condom's gone. If that person has something, you now have it. HIV, AIDS. I know a couple right now. I don't know if they're still alive or not, but they've been alive for numerous years because they were taking a medication that was help to keep a HIV victim alive. I know there's a woman right now that was on YouTube, and she was sharing how she basically, in a nutshell, found out how she got AIDS. The doctor told this woman, like I said, fair use, fair use, fair use. The doctor told this woman when she went into a hospital, the doctor got the test back from the lab and said, lady, do you know you have AIDS? This woman didn't know she had AIDS. The doctor told her, your level of your condition of AIDS right now, from our reports from the lab, you must have had AIDS for the last 8 to 10 years. That's what he told the woman. So the woman had to go back and call every single solitary person that she'd been intimately involved with for the last 8 to 10 years. You know darn well that person don't have all the numbers of those people. Okay? So this is extremely, extremely important. Just because you see a person walking around, they look halfway healthy, doesn't mean they don't have HIV and that you can't get it. You got to be careful. You got to be very, very careful with some of these people. There was, I'm gonna bring it up, there was a particular strip club in the metropolitan Detroit area. I went to get I used to live over in a part of the city where there was a particular coffee shop. And so I happened to go into this particular coffee shop, and there was a number of people in the coffee shop, and everybody was having a nice time conversing and talking with one another. And so I went and got my coffee for that particular day. And when I got the coffee for that particular day, there was this very, 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 very nicely built woman. Very, very, very nicely built woman that was in the coffee shop. And so as I was getting my coffee, the woman turned around and said, how you doing? I was like, yeah, how you doing? I'm fine. And we had a little conversation. She said, did you see the news the other day? I said, no, I didn't see the news the other day. What was in the news? She said, it was in the news the other day that the health department shut down one of the strip clubs in the Metro Detroit area. I'm like, why would they shut the strip club down? One of the strip clubs down in the metropolitan Detroit area because the health department went into this particular strip club, tested the women, and every single solitary one of those strippers had HIV. Did you hear what I just said? Every single solitary woman that was stripping in that strip club had HIV. Everyone, okay? So for those of you just sitting up here and you listen to people say, I just go there, you listen to some woman tell you some crap about they're not prostituting, they tell you some crap about they're not into women, they're telling you some crap about they're just stripping to get through school. No, many of the strippers are prostituting. There was one stripper that was talking about, she was one of the few honest ones. She said she had been with over 2,000 men and women intimately with. Over 2,000 men and women. So there's a lot of prostitution that's going on when you are in these strip clubs, and the health department came in and shut this one particular strip club down because of, and this woman told me about it. I didn't even know about it. She said it made the news. It was so bad it made the news. So I sat up here and I was thinking about how can all the women have HIV in this one particular strip club? Well, I'll tell you the reason how every one of the women had HIV in a strip club, because they not only were screwing around with other people that were paying them for different activities that they would be doing. A lot of those women were screwing around with each other in the strip club. Did you hear what I said? A lot of those women were screwing around with other women in that strip club. That's how HIV spread from woman to woman to woman to woman till it spread through all the women that were at that strip club. All of them. So that's how it spread throughout all the other women in this particular strip club, because they were all screwing around with each other and screwing around with the patrons that were coming in. Okay. So I had a friend of mine, he went down to some type of meeting, and right next door to the meeting that the guy went to, there was a HIV AIDS meeting, a support group for people who had HIV and AIDS. And so I sat up here like, okay, so you're telling me about this, so what happened? He said, man, I was like, what? He said, you know how you watch on television and they talk about people with HIV and they talk about people with AIDS, and they always showing you somebody that's frail and they barely got meat on their skin, and they look like a bag of bones, and they look like at any minute they're gonna die. I said, yeah, I've seen those. I've seen videos, I've seen television commercials. They always showing somebody that look like they're about ready to die. He said, man, he was attending some type of meeting, and right next door was an AIDS, HIV support group meeting. He said, man, he told me he's seen some of the finest women walking into that support group meeting. I'm like, what? He said, man, the women that were going into the AIDS, HIV support group meeting were absolutely gorgeous, and they had full-blown AIDS or full-blown HIV. I'm like, man, are you serious? He said, yes. And so the point that I'm making in this particular video is to let you know you need to be extremely careful. 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 You cannot just go by a person's looks and think that they're okay, that you can just screw around with them because they look like they're okay. That person could have full-blown AIDS. That person could have full-blown HIV. All right? So please like, please share, please subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and peace.